Hello, hello, beautiful souls, friends around the world. I'm coming in and on again for some life sharing. And today I would like to speak a little bit regarding self-worth. And this is quite a big topic, I would say, when we have maybe there a particular lack, wound, programming. And usually this is starting quite in the early age, when we just basically receive a distorted perspective of our own self. And again, usually this is starting in the early age, childhood, when the parents are maybe not present, not kind of giving us the attention needed. And attention is not only to basically when we ask something and the parents shall run and give us something, but rather to build up that healthy vision of self, that when we are calling for them, that this means as well we have a particular right to express ourselves. But if this was in a way suppressed by not being answered when we called for them or wanted to share something, or being then belittled or even shut down in our expression, and whatever this expression was, that actually triggers then all our most inner, sensitive, vulnerable, deepest spaces of our own self-perception. And again, this then really brings a distortion that we actually are not worthy, we don't have this value, that somebody at that moment care for us, have time for us, respect us in our expression. And all of this built up really creates a deep wound and programming that later on our journey, when we are already grown-ups, it's actually reflecting then that we, in a way, are not anymore used, because we were not really raised like that, to receive what we truly deserve. And then, of course, we, by this inner core wounding of not really feeling that inner worth, it was never really developed within us, then of course we are attracting, because we are vibrating this information that we don't really have this worth within us. And that's always a mirroring into life, into the daily situations, into relationships, any kind of, with friends, partners, or also in the job, etc. That then basically we attract rather distorted version of how we would receive back the worth of our own self. So how we would receive back the response from the outside about our worth. And again, usually then, like I said, it's then rather a distorted version, and having then maybe heavy experiences to not being taken, basically taken for granted, or really not taken serious, not receiving that respect with our own self-expression, maybe being bullied, maybe being really taking away that voice, that we also have a space in that circle in which we are moving, if it's now with parents, with partnerships, and in jobs, etc. And all of that is then as well affecting how much worth we are attracting into our material life. So this means as well, if we don't feel then worthy, basically, we can't actually attract then as well into our life a huge flow of prosperity, of abundance, because this is all connected with our own self inner worth. And again, this starts in early ages, and maybe we saw how the father treated the mother treated the father, etc. And all of this is as well rising or being raised in circumstances which are rather distorted and not really carrying the essential frequency of worthiness, of abundance, of that we can attract anything in our life. So it's really, really connected with the worth, with our own self. Again, how is then the money flow? How is the prosperity flowing? How are we getting our jobs? Is it something more heavy for us to do so, or is it easy coming to us? All of this is connected with our own self-worth, because again, it's creating a distortion of how we're seeing, how we're perceiving our own selves. And this distortion, of course, creates then a deep, deep self-doubt, because if all our life from small on, from childhood on, it was rather the frequency that we are not honored in our particular self-expression, that we're not honored what we have to say, that we're not honored what we want to share, then of course there comes as well the program of that self-doubt, because then everything what we wish for, we maybe dream, but then something stops us, and that something which stops us is usually not then believing that we are actually worthy to be in such a prosperous life, to be in such a beautiful flow, to receive a beautiful, fulfilled partnership of giving and receiving. And all of that is actually the abundance. I also want to speak about tomorrow in my activation journey, which as well you're most welcome to join, because those activation journeys I'm always offering are actually, especially now in the season of huge transformation of the eclipses we are in that period, just supporting to transmute, to transform all of these deep woundings and programs which are still affecting many, many in daily life. And then of course you don't have that stability in your core, that you believe that you can achieve it, that you can really feel that you're vibrating abundance and prosperity. Because again, if you're from childhood on constantly being shown, told even that you could feel it, that you don't have really a value in that environment in which you've been basically raised, then of course it's a really weak core of attracting that beautiful, fulfilled, abundant life in which we are in. So it's really all about our own mindset, but as well to transmute that core wound of that lack of self-worth. And all of that we're gonna work as well, like mentioned, tomorrow in this activation. So most welcome. It's gonna be at 7 p.m. UK time. And we're gonna then really dive in that group session much more deeper, and with light codes and with healing frequencies, and go into those core spaces, because it's really about time that anything which we've been taught, learned, shown now, which if it's not serving us anymore, now to transmute it, now to close the door to that circle, to that cycle, because now we have the chance to do so. So again, if you have in your life constantly the cycles of toxic situations, toxic relationship, take it for granted, abusive, emotional, mental, spiritual, all of that is an indicator that there is a wound, a lack of your own self-worth. And again, this is so subtle that often as a child, as a beautiful, fragile little being, you might not be even aware that you're having this wounding. But again, it will be an indicator. It will show you if it's like a constant loop in your life, that you always find yourself in situations that suddenly, again, there is no respect back, there's no love back towards you in a relationship as well, maybe in job situations, that you've been just taken as an animal who shall work there constantly and not really getting any kind of beautiful feedback or gratitude for your work. All of this, again, are indicators that within you there is that wound, that lack of that self-worth, because that worthiness is really something we are building, we are developing in the early stages of our life. And again, it can go even beyond this lifetime, also possible, because we can have the ancestral lineages, that it's a program running and just passing on from one to the next one. But again, it's something we can now transmute, let go, and close, because this eclipse season, and we are now somewhere in the middle, because next week we have then already the lunar eclipse, is really that deep introspection time to now face and find all of those still wounds and informations which just doesn't serve us anymore. So if this is rising up within you, that you just feel again in situations that may be taken for granted, again, not really respected, or even that you constantly need to run after something or someone to get the worth from them, like maybe approval, maybe just a compliment, maybe just something that you feel, okay, I did something good or right. That's all indicators that there is that wound from childhood, that there is a lack of this self-worth. And the self-worth wound, again, is hindering you from receiving a really fulfilled life, because you then still have this distorted version of yourself, perspective of self, that you can't get it there, or it takes so much effort to get there, and still you don't get it then. If it's a relationship, if it's the job, if it's that you just freely abundant, flowing through life, whatever it is, it really starts deeply within our self-love core. Okay, so we are not now here to judge why maybe the parents didn't have that time, or not been able to show you that you actually are welcomed, or that you are actually having this value and this respect, but they just couldn't express it. Whatever it was, it is past. It doesn't matter. But what matters is that you are now enough conscious that you can now close that program, heal that wound, and letting go of all what was then experienced. And because the beautiful new earth is just basically now in our beautiful field as well, that new earth consciousness, there is no separation anymore existing. So anything which is still here in lack is only that mindset which is still keeping you looping into that 3D version, like I can't have all that because I don't deserve it, I can't, I don't have the tools, whatever it is. So basically I wish to support you, to move you out from that separation, duality programming of the 3D consciousness and perspective into higher understanding. And the new earth consciousness embodiment is as well an opening door to abundance, because there we're gonna then understand that we never lost that self-worth, that we are more than worthy if we are carrying within us that vibration of being source. So everything we're being taught is only an experience which we are now slowly unwrapping again towards oneness consciousness, okay? So this means that self-worth, when we bring that back into harmony, into balance within our own self, it will start then that you just learn a different, beautiful relationship with your own self. You will not need anymore that someone outside tells you you're good, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you are attractive, you are successful. All this will become a natural state because there was never ever something wrong with you. Again, it can be a deep imprint from early childhood, but we are now grown-ups, and as a grown-up you can much more easier face what was there when you've been really a fragile, young, beautiful little being, which of course couldn't handle that emotional absence. Yes, I'm hearing absence, because when the parents are not there and actually building and developing with you together, that you have a space on this world, that you're honored for how you are, that you don't need to be different, that they have ears and eyes for you, being there, present for you. All of this actually strengthen that inner core of that self-worth. And this is also a beautiful message for those who already have now younger children, particularly younger children, that you can support them in such a way, because they are already quite developed in their consciousness. But what they really need is just that we see them, that we hear them. And this is enough that they have then for their pathway on as a beautiful tool, that they have the worth exactly the same like us to be here in that existence. So again, and tomorrow in this activation, I'm inviting you at 7 p.m. UK time. We're going to basically work with this inner wound, with that lack program of that self-worth. And this will then again open all the layers of abundance and prosperity. So I'm not talking here just about money and material prosperity, but as well for harmonious self-acceptance inside of you. So really like feeling within you that you're already rich with all there is. And rich means that you're in harmony, that you can go out, and again, you don't need anyone to tell you that you're great, that, I don't know, you have succeed, that you feel then that value, to feel then that worth, because that was the loop that many just didn't get that feedback, and they always thought they need to work even harder for that partner to love them, to see them, to accept them, even harder to come to any kind of money abundance and so on, because there was or is that lack of self-worth. So I hope that this helps you to just understand that you're not caught in that loop, and that nobody else needs to tell you that you have this worth. But again, it mirrors that all what's going on in your life, all that toxicity was actually settling down for less than you really deserve. And it's not your fault, okay? But that settling down for less was only because there was no comparison, that how it is when it's in a healthy state. Because when it's in a healthy state, then you natural attract a beautiful partnership who sees you, who honors you, a perfect, amazing job, who really, again, values you for your work, or a beautiful space where you're living aligned with what you are. Then you receive all the deserving because you're then attuned to that. All right. So again, I hope this helps. I'm just hopping in shortly, and just to invite you, if you wish to work a little bit deeper with that and open then the prosperity on all the levels, the abundance flow on all the levels, then this work tomorrow is surely something which can support you with that. And if not, again, if you can't be live there, there will be as well a recording available. And if also this doesn't really resonate with you, then take these words that there is something now massively happening in the consciousness of all life, basically, of humanity, that we are shifting really from that victim state into the massive, I'm all there is, and I'm deserving, and I'm attracting the worth which actually source contains. And this, of course, is everything. So there is no limit that you wouldn't be able to achieve anything which your soul desires. But firstly, just to transmute that lack of that self-worth, because you just didn't receive that support to develop it. So sending you so much love, and it's time to not settle anymore for anything less which really wouldn't fulfill you on all your levels of your being. Sending much love here from Slovenia, and hope to see you then tomorrow at the activation journey at 7 p.m. UK time, and the link for it will be in the comments below. Much love, and keep on pushing through those layers of that shadow which just wants to be illuminated with light and new higher consciousness perspective. That's where we're heading to. Bye for now.